Today is a special, significant, and solemn day. Just earlier this morning, Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, uh, had his funeral service, and the royal family, Prince Harry, Prince William, and the rest of the family attended the service. And I think his body is being laid to rest. And this death, which occurred probably a week ago, has sparked not only prayers and thoughts, but also a conversation about a question that has been raised for many, many decades. And that is whether we should abolish the monarchy. And in this podcast, we'll be going into that question and hopefully probably get something out of it. So I'm here with my co host, Sebastian Rizard, and a guest, William Rosen,
Oh,
whose lineage is actually, I think you're Polish and British.
yes.
And somehow not Irish.
No, I'm Irish. I am Irish.
Dude, you literally say to me, I asked, are you Irish? And you're like, no, I'm
no,
not
I said
Irish.
yes. I'm British and Irish. It brings a lot of conflict. That's why. It brings a lot of conflict because there's
okay.
Irish people that don't like the British and British people don't like the Irish. And I'm in
Oh.
like the English channel, like, hey.
It's like, yeah. So I'm gonna ask the big question: should we abolish the monarchy?
No,
No,
we should not.
Okay. I mean, I was expecting some yeses, but
Do we have any contrast here? Because this would be a very difficult podcast. We're just talking about keeping the monarchy. Does anybody have any opposing views?
Opposing views. Well, for me personally, I don't want to come off as some monarchist, but yes, I would say no. But really, okay, here's my reasoning. And I want to say the possible counter argument. It's outdated. It's a very archaic, anachronistic system, which is basically useless because their power is not to govern. It's basically to be this like to put on some happy face and do some charities. And for me personally, I think the argument for not abolishing it is that it's the biggest and probably one of the like only symbols of the UK that it's like something that embodies what the UK is. And without it, um, I don't without it, it takes away this huge chunk of what the British identity is. That's basically the gist of my argument. And I want to ask what your guys' things are, like arguments for it, not abolishing it.
Well, it's quite simple, Sam. You have the good point of the identity of the UK, and without it, sure, like the UK kind of does lose most of its touch. I mean, of course, has little things, but it does lose a big part of it. But you're also have to factor in the amount of money that monarchy brings in each year is just immense. That's why they donate so much to charities, because they just have so much that they don't know what to do with, because of how many people come to visit all the historic places and all the museums. And without the actual monarchy being there, it's just going to kind of go to the wayside, and the UK's economy would suffer extremely because of it. And I would not doubt, like, without the monarchy, they probably might, I dare to say they might go into a Great Depression level of just economic downturn.
And I don't want, they're already in a quite a predicament because of Brexit now.
Oh yeah, they're already in the hole. They shouldn't dig themselves deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Basically I agree with Will's point in terms of the economic aspect. I checked it out. The UK's GDP right before COVID hit at the end of 2019, it was about 3 trillion. I believe it was I think it was 3 trillion US dollars, or that was the equivalent. Tourism, as Will said, plays a very big part in this. And, the pandemic has also hit the UK kind of hard, because of the lack of tourism and travel in between countries. So, yeah, I don't think abolishing it would be good in terms of interest per se.
Um, I'm just thinking right now. I mean, when I think I just want to say that the reason why I brought this up, why I asked Will to agree with this topic is because there's a lot of like negativity that is being displayed towards the royal family. And it's like social media is not the great place for gaining perspective. But when I found out the news that Prince Philip died, in the comments were like, "Oh, it's like hearts," and like, "Oh, feel sorry." I feel sorry for like condolences and thoughts and prayers and all that. And there's just some they're like, "Oh yes, the guy is dead" or something. And it's something like that. I mean, honestly, Prince Philip is a cool guy. I don't know how
Prince Philip was an excellent man, like
yeah.
throughout his
I mean,
entire life. He was a very good man, and that was definitely represented in his funeral today. I got to catch the beginning and end of it. I had to leave for the middle, but there's a lot. There was a lot of representation of what he did in his lifetime, and it really showed that he was a good person, especially to the Queen. They loved each other very much. But they're on social media, as you said, the royal family doesn't have a good social media side, as it not their representation on there, but how people look at them on there,
yeah.
and it's very negative. A lot of people don't like the monarchy on social media platforms, and it's just because that's how it is. Like they're viewed as just a negative side there. I
I
can't really say as to where it begun, but it's just how it is.
I think it's kind of recent because the whole thing about cancel culture and
Mm.
progressivism, I guess, the way we look at history through the eyes of modernism, and like we like today have this set of values, we well, we obviously hate slavery, we hate segregation, we hate discrimination and racism because it has been so apparent that that has been kind of displayed when we look at history. And since the British Empire was known for colonialism and all that, uh, it's very connected to the monarchy, and that's really where it came from. The sort of like hatred, and also it's also exacerbated by what happened to Meghan Markle and all that and that thing. Yeah, and it's also like they all the I guess insults are like, oh, they're all inbred, which is kind of true. Isn't like
Technically, as
well,
of more recent years, no, but in the original monarchy, yes. If you date back years and years, it is a lineage of inbred due to the view the the view that if you inbreed it gives them pure royal blood, but it's not really how that works. But that was the view, was that the kings and queens had royal blood, and that if you were to inbreed with another king or queen of that same family, it'd make it even more pure and keeps the line pure. Um, as of more recent years, I don't think that that's really so much of the case, but
well, isn't
that's just because of more
like
science has figured out that that's a really bad thing to do.
well, yeah, well, isn't Prince Philip related to Queen Victoria and like Queen
Oh yeah,
Victoria?
some way, but like
Yeah,
I'm talking more modern, like past Prince Philip area,
well, yeah,
like of course the more recent years.
yeah, and like Prince William, uh, like I think what's her name, Catherine, Princess Catherine,
Kate. Prince Kate, I think is what she goes by.
Kate. Yeah, she's like a she's not like a commoner, right?
Sh-
She's like
Technically, she is.
yeah, but in terms of like status, she's kind of
Oh,
wealthy.
in the royal family before
No, I'm
or
just saying.
after
I'm just saying, like before. Like I think
Oh,
she had
she
some
wasn't. She
affluence.
wasn't like dirt cheap. Like she wasn't like
Yeah,
begging for pennies, but she's not royal family status.
but she
I
is like.
believe she came from a slightly wealthier family. Yes, I
Yeah, that's
believe
what I'm
that's
saying.
correct. But
Yeah.
as of being of the royal family, there's a big jump between being a wealthy family and being the royal family. So
Well, yeah. Well, I just want to like. Okay, I don't want to like be some sort of mediator in this. So I'm just gonna have to say it. I think that abolishing the monarchy is like the stupidest idea ever conceived. Well, no. Well, it's a very
well,
stupid
no, there's a
idea.
lot of stupider ideas.
It's
This is a
like,
pretty
yeah.
stupid one. Yes,
It's a pretty stupid idea.
it's because of how they're viewed mostly on social media. They're viewed as this historic like thing that we can just throw away and that it should be
Yeah.
gone with everything else. And it's the idea of progressivism, like you said, like we're moving on, we're moving forward with the future, and that we should
Yes.
just throw this to the wayside. But doing that, you can't throw away history. Like things happen. That's just how it is. Like things have happened, and the monarchy existed, and they want to keep it as a staple, not just because it existed, but because it still exists. Like it's still there, and we should keep it there because without it, who's to say we won't forget it?
Well, there's certainly some European nations that have gotten rid of the monarchy, but not really the way that's being advocated now. But that's really one of the things. Uh, like the things arguing for abolition is because like, oh, there were like this amount of monarchies at some point, like in the 1800s. Now it's only some. Well, it's shockingly a lot of countries like Japan, was it Sweden, Belgium, Netherlands, uh, Finland? Like,
Plenty of countries have
yeah,
had monarchies and are still around today. Most people, most countries in Europe and stuff had monarchies or emperors and all that kind of stuff. But and they've all moved to the wayside. That's because they were able to do it discreetly. But since like the Queen is such a staple of like England, it's very hard to just remove her from like everything, or like to remove the royal family in general, because it's just a big part of who they are as a country. Like when you
mhm.
take like Japan, for instance, they got rid of their emperor. Like what was it? It was after World War II, right? When they got
Well,
rid of.
no, that's not true. They still have an emperor.
Well, they have an emperor, but it's not like an acting emperor, correct?
Well,
They don't
it's
have a.
not. It's definitely
It's not
not
the
like.
Empire of Japan, right?
It's not the Empire of Japan, but they still have an emperor. And
Well, like,
Hirohito,
is it like the Queen, right? Like, is it that kind of emperor?
I think so. It's like
Yeah. So like
it's
it's viewed, but they don't see. Everyone sees Japan as still like a very progressive nation because of everything else they've brought. Since England is the Queen, is still the royal family, and doesn't have that kind of stuff after it. Like Japan has all this other new modern technology and all this that's coming out of there, and then England is still just England.
hmm well,
That's what I thought at least.
well, I think we're like clouding sea bass right here, or right now.
Oh yeah, we have been cutting them.
Yo,
Yeah, what's
so
up?
just give us your like general thing, because like,
Well,
yeah,
I think when you look at it, yeah, I think removing the monarchy isn't it's not necessary. It's not necessary, and as Will said, it is. You're just removing a piece of history. I think even though there are some parts of history that people might not agree with, or some people think you could just throw away, I think you also need to there's still a level of respect you need to have for it. There are things you can just often go back and look back on, but at the same time you also have the ability to move forward. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing as well, because at this point I don't think the Queen or the position itself has much political power or influence at this point. It's more or less just a ceremonial title, or the Queen at this point is more or less just a figurehead. So I don't personally
There's
see
no
a
real
reason to get
purpose
rid of
of
it.
it.
Yeah,
There's no real
essentially.
purpose of it. The Queen doesn't have any political power. other than like a few really old rules that really have nothing to do with it. Like there's one that if you that all the swans in England are the Queen's property, and if you hurt one of them, you can get like you have the corporal punishment
Beheaded.
or whatever. Yeah, you
Wait,
get like
is it
beheaded.
beheaded?
Yeah, I think it's like
Yeah.
beheaded, and the
Firing
Queen gives
squad.
she gives like the ultimate say whether they can do it or not. And they left it in because it's a huge joke, but that's like the only thing she has left. Like she doesn't have any political power. She's there as a showpiece,
Well,
a figurehead, as you said.
aren't there like two things? Like, first of all, is like first is the audience. It's called like the audience with the PM. But like,
Are you talking about when
it's
she?
like weekly meetings with the PM.
Oh, yeah, she still has those. She still gets
Yeah.
briefings
Like,
on
it's-
national matters, and she gives opening speeches before sessions of parliament begin.
Yeah, but it's not like
And-
she's having much effect on those though.
No,
And
She
also,
gives the opening speeches because that's tradition, and
Yeah.
Parliament is for the Queen to give an opening speech each time.
and also royal assent, right? That's like when the bill is passed or a bill is going to be passed and it's like at the final stage, that's royal assent. That's basically like a presidential signature, right?
Yeah, but the Queen gives them on whatever passes in there. I think.
Okay.
I don't know how many things she's personally denying.
Honestly, like I watched The Crown, and The Crown is really not that reliable. It just gives you like this broad idea of it. And um thinking about it, there's no political power. And basically all those audiences are basically the PM having like the 80% of the conversation is from the PM. And like in The Crown, like in the first season, when like King George VI died and Queen Elizabeth had to like after her coronation and all that, she was only like 25. And she was not ill educated. She was educated by like with the constitution and all that with a private tutor, and but she didn't really know what was going on in the world. She had no clue. Basically, yeah. Uh, she doesn't really do anything. But I stand by my statement as this. It's like, what's a good analogy? I think it's something that is so accustomed to British culture. It's like, I don't know, it's like an old friend going away, like moving away, sort of. And it's like you feel very reluctant. You just hate the idea. And I assume a lot of British people have this feeling when if the monarchy is abolished, it's some sort of like, this is very, very weird. It's something I've been accustomed to. And I feel like I don't want this to go away. And I don't know. The idea of a monarchy sounds cool. And well, let me rephrase that so I don't get canceled.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a risky side to take there.
I guess me personally, I like history, and I like right now I'm reading a lot about European history. It's kind of cool, like monarchies and all that. It's like all those like fancy
They
stuff.
did do a lot of cool things, though they were also putting a lot of people in slavery. So yeah,
I mean
I really like them.
I don't know.
like a love-hate relationship.
Educationally,
it's like it did some cool things, but like, what was that though? Like, why?
it's like
It's like,
like Heart of Darkness, like all that stuff in there. It's like but I don't know. It's just
I think that right now, like it's a lot of work for nothing. I think that's what it is. Is abolishing the monarchy is just a lot of work for nothing. Because then once you take out if you take it out the Queen, you have to distribute all the wealth that she has, and you have to take down the rest of the family, and you have to take down all their titles, and then you have to change the national anthem, but bring a whole new one because the whole national anthem is about saving the Queen, and that would be in really bad taste about taking out the Queen.
But yeah, why is there national anthem about the Queen? I just
God
don't
Save
get
the Queen.
Yeah,
It's about God. It's God Save the Queen. It's been it's not like our national anthem that's like relatively new because we're a new country. That's been like their national anthem for like God knows how long, and it's been updated, of course, probably like it's been changed slightly. But God Save the Queen is kind of a staple. I don't know why it's been it, but I presume because the Queen is usually in some sort of peril. I don't know. Just she gets in trouble a lot. I don't know. She's like a 94-year-old lady, so I don't know what she needs saving from. But
every time we say God Save the Queen, she lives like another 10 years. That's
oh God,
Oh,
that's a lot of people saying it. That's a lot of people
that's a
saying
lot.
it. That's
So
at the
she's
beginning
immortal.
of every soccer match. Is God Save the Queen?
Oh no,
So
that's
she's
a lot.
immortal.
She's literally gonna be immortal. It was every 10 years someone says they say it like 6 times in the song.
Well, like, hold on, like, there's a lot of bangers, like that could supplement God Save the Queen, and I know some, and
There's
I
a lot
listen
of
to some.
bangers. There's a lot of
Like, yo,
bangers.
this is like top of the charts. When you like patriotic British songs, top of the charts, number 1 or 2, but like one I really like, and I listen to them. I didn't hear a lot of Jerusalem a lot, and I just don't believe. I don't. Why do they call that Jerusalem? If it's like
Right.
nothing about Britain.
Oh, the
Jerusalem,
song. The song?
Yeah.
I presume it has something to do with the Crusades. Something like that.
Oh,
that's taking back the Holy Land, all that.
Pretty old.
Like that's my only presumption as to why it was Jerusalem, because that's the only connection that England really has to that area of the world, is taking back the Holy Land back when the Crusades were still kicking.
Okay. And I guess the other two are like Rule Britannia, but that's too militaristic. That's too controversial. Like several years ago, like I watched a Good Morning Britain video about this, right? It was while Piers Morgan was on, and personally, I don't really like Piers, but it was basically about, is Rule Britannia racist? And
it's a controversial song.
Yeah, and I get it's like the argument is that it was made during a time of colonialism.
A lot of things were made during a time of colonialism. That's
what I'm saying. It's like
you can make that argument for anything that was made during the time of colonialism.
Yeah, it's like, is there anything in the song that directly is controversial?
I'd have to look at the lyrics to find something legitimate, but if their only argument is that it's from that time,
that's not
enough. Like
FDR is racist then. Oh, FDR is racist.
You know it.
Abraham Lincoln.
Racist.
I don't know. But like
it's you can make that argument with anybody that was around during the colonialism era. It's actually a quite popular thing. I've heard that brought up with more than just like that song. Like I've heard it with a couple other songs, a couple other things, like ideals that we've been built on that make it seem like they're racist, but if their only argument is that, then I wouldn't say it is.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, not really my call.
I remember that video had like Nigel, what's his last name? That guy, anti-European guy.
Oh, Nigel, what was his last
Nigel
name?
Farage?
I think so.
Garage? Yeah. Well, personally, I don't really like Brexit. I think it's a terrible idea.
I think the execution of it was poor. I don't really understand why they did it, but they did it. So
national sovereignty, man, it's a popular thing now.
I guess so. I mean, I don't see how much of that really outweighs everything that you were getting from the EU, but
that's a topic of another time. But
Brexit is a whole different topic.
There's another one. Oh, I love this one. I vow to thee, my country, but it's kind of long and slow.
Yeah, you gotta. you can't, for national anthems, you have to pick something short because they play it in front of every sports match. And if you wait too long, the guys fall asleep
Yeah.
and then they're not excited to actually start the game. That's why God Save the Queen is just solid, because you can hear a whole bunch of British people shouting it and it sounds just fine.
Yes. We love our queen so much.
God save the Queen. Sound like that usually. That's what they
But
usually
isn't
sound.
that like, it should be super weird for you, the monarch, to have a national anthem all about yourself.
Their entire country is built on themselves. I think that they're kind of accustomed to things being about themselves.
They're all narcissists.
I mean,
That's the excuse we'll use to take down the monarchy. They're all narcissists.
that's our only that's our only fight against them. They're narcissists.
Yeah. Oh, but like the thing that's shocking, I guess, it's like all those they're insulting the monarchy at a time when a guy died.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a choice time, really. It's a very disturbing thing to see, in my opinion, to see posts that say like, thank God he finally like kicked the bucket, when it's a picture of Prince Philip's funeral. It's
Yeah.
just it's
Yeah.
in very bad taste. And it's quite disturbing to see people that are that adamant about a guy passing away, a guy that was like a staple of British history, went around
Yeah.
for 99 years and did a lot in those 99 years. They actually, I forgot how many titles it was, but they read out all of his titles that he had, and it was a long, long list. And they were all things that were like beneficial to like the country and all that. And
Yeah.
a lot of them were military titles, of course, because he was very big in the military. But there was a very long list of titles that definitely showed that he was a good guy. Like, but people view him as the monarchy and down with the monarchy and all that. So
Yeah, and what was it? Yeah, he was a naval officer. He wanted to create a navy, I think, but then uh what was it? It's just like a long thing. Like King Edward was like, "Yo, I'm gonna marry this American women. Like, I'm gonna screw over the entire monarchy and abdicate." And then, well, actually, no, that's a great decision because God, I hate that guy, Edward. Dude, he's a
yeah.
Nazi sympathizer. Like, come on.
Yeah, he wasn't. There's a couple of the royal family that aren't good eggs, but
Oh, you're
I mean that's
talking
the
about
same with any
Edward.
family.
Edward the Seventh or something. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Not the best guy, but
yeah, like the crown just made everyone hate him.
well, yeah, because no one really
Yeah.
realized, no one remembers him that much in history. When you go back and you look at it, you kind of skip over him because of he wasn't the best of guys. So
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I just don't. I hate that guy. But then again, he abdicated. Then George was like, "Ah, shit. Now I have to do shit. I have to do monarchy things." Well, it's not that like he was like, "Oh, damn it." He was like, "Oh shit." He was like thinking about it and like, "Oh my god, the enormous like responsibility, especially during a time of war." If you watch the King's Speech, that's a great movie. I love the movie. Yeah, but then I don't know. It just feels weird. Like I don't know why I feel weird, but it's like it's just like I don't want to say radical, but a very new thing about abolishing the monarchy. And I'm just like envisioning the future of the UK because the UK is already down, kind of in the gutter, with Brexit, with COVID, and with hate between Scotland and England. I heard like a couple of years ago, Scotland held this referendum vote about leaving the UK, and that's really like, I guess, sad in a way because the power of the UK would be diminished significantly. Now England is just like part of an island. It's not even an island. It's part of an island.
part of an island.
Yeah.
So is Scotland. They're both just kind of there. And that vote, I mean, if you were to split off the UK, like I don't know why Like I don't see the benefit to doing it. Like I guess you get your independence from the UK if you really wanted it, but you'd be tanking in a lot of money. Like you'd be using a lot of money to split it up, and then you'd be losing a lot of money because of just how much tourism the UK brings in, and how much part of that money goes to them. So I don't really see the benefit of it, but
I guess it's like a dopamine effect that is like, yeah, like rebellion. It's cool because history, like England conquered over Scotland, and now we have a chance to break away and like, yeah, Scotland, woo. But like
don't see the after.
afterwards, like a week afterwards, like, oh damn.
Like don't get me wrong, like the British Empire wasn't the best. Like they weren't the best at, but slavery and all that kind of stuff and colonization. But nowadays, like breaking out of the UK, like why would you? Like it's what other benefits does Scotland bring to the table that they can affect things, you know?
Yeah, it's like a very small nation, both of them. It's like
Mhm.
you really
And
don't have a
splitting up,
lot of stuff.
England wouldn't be as hurt as Scotland would be.
Yeah.
Scotland would be hurt a lot more than England would be, because England, even if you lost the monarchy, England still is a strong nation and has still a lot of rich history there that you can still do. But Scotland is just kind of very open plains and a couple of cities, and like sure, there's some beautiful sites there, but history-wise, it's better to go to England if you want to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so they should be
especially
getting most of the tourism.
yeah. And if we did abolish the monarchy, all those things would be public property, right?
Most likely, yeah, they'd be as public as a park, unless it's a museum. Then it'd be still
museum.
like all the Queen's jewels and all that kind of stuff would be put into museums, and then that would all be put up on display.
And I guess like the rest of the royal family would be like, they need to find a job. It's like, oh damn, I have to do
No,
work
they'd just
now.
be a rich family at that point.
It's become
Well, yeah.
normies.
Yeah, I'll buy.
Did you see them at like a 7-Eleven?
Oh my god!
Oh my god, it's the Queen, guys! Oh wait,
wait, Prince William? It's like, oh,
whoa!
like no,
You're getting
not anymore.
a corn dog from 7-Eleven at like 3:30? Jeez.
Like, oh, I miss those chefs. 20
Yeah.
chefs,
Yeah, 20 chefs and
30 servants.
the whole restaurant you could just
Yeah.
rent out. Yeah, they just become a rich family at that point.
I
And they'd
doubt.
be the richest family in England, but
Yeah.
Richest?
No.
No. Wait, no. On God, no. Really? I thought they're.
I mean, they have a lot of like gold essentially that is their personal property. It's like the what's that? The US gold storage. What's that place? Fort Knox, that has all the US's gold that nobody uses. It's like if the president kind of just was like, yeah, that's mine now. And then
They own the gold?
I'm pretty
Well,
sure they
yeah.
own a good chunk of their gold, because it's like the monarchy's gold or whatever, and the UK doesn't need it, so I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
it's their own property.
Yeah, because of fiat currency and all that.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's
yeah, all that good stuff.
I doubt we'll see the monarchy go down anytime soon, though. At the end of 2020, there was a survey that was published. At least 21% of people want an elected head of state, but most people don't really see a need to abolish it. So it's probably going to be there for.
What
well,
do you
that's
mean?
just the thing, is that like they have the prime minister already, which correct me if I'm wrong, they have elections for the prime minister, right?
Well,
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
wait. The
So-
people don't vote for the PM. It's basically Congress. It's basically
Yeah,
who's
it's
the
like a
leader.
Congress thing. It's electoral college, but in England.
Well, yeah, but the people don't vote. Well, technically, theoretically, yes, they vote for their
The people
MP, and the MP vote for the
Yeah.
PM. It's kind of weird.
It's like it's a double vote kind of thing.
Yeah, but that's not a direct vote. But
But
neither is the
well,
electoral
people-
college.
the America doesn't have a direct vote either. We don't directly choose who's in office, which would be a very bad decision if it was, because leaving things up to the American people is a bad choice. We're kind of idiots.
Oh yes, we had this discussion last week. We
We
kind of
did?
said no, like me, Sebastian and I, we're like our country's becoming more democratic in the way that all power to the people. And we just said, that's pretty bad idea because like
Bad idea.
lowering the voting age, kind of bad idea. Well, I mean,
That
it's hell is-
lowering the voting age wasn't an awful idea, but it was a bold move. I do like it at 18. If they lower it any more, I'd be very concerned.
11-year-olds vote.
3-year-olds can vote.
Listen, all right. Gen Z has
Yeah.
a horrible sense of humor, so I couldn't imagine people
Now
below
that,
the age of
that
18.
so that
picking
correlates
our
with their
elected
voting ability. Okay, but
We as a nation are kind of losing our grip on reality, I think, a lot, and we're just kind of doing whatever. And that's why I think we still need somewhat of a power in government as to choose who's leading this country. Because if it was just us, I think that we would choose like Elon Musk or Dwayne the Rock Johnson and just throw them in there and see what happens.
so in
choose
a so in a way
you-
that type of thinking influences your view on the monarchy. Like
Yeah.
you are more of a, you're not totally an elitist. But
Oh no. I still believe that the government. I don't want the government controlling every move of my life. That's insane. But I do have. I've been grown up with the idea that monarchy is cool, and of
Yeah.
course, in recent years, I've learned like the monarchy in the past was definitely not cool. Very
Yeah.
racist. Not very
Mhm.
cash money. I'm not gonna lie. Instead, they
Yeah.
killed a whole bunch of people. It was not very cool. But
It's weird.
there's no
yeah,
point in
sorry.
breaking them up, though. There's no point in breaking it up.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but most of the some of the anti-abolition people are like Tories. They're like there's some of which I assume they're like a far right the people who are like, the British Empire was kind of cool. We need it back, but it's like
Oh, like the far right in American sense?
in
Like
a far
American
right and not
politics?
like in an American sense, but applied to Britain.
Yes. Yeah. There are people that view that the British Empire should come back. It's a small group of people.
Wait,
Because of
how
how rich-
many? Like how many? Because they're kind of stupid in a way.
Okay, well, here's my view on this. Anybody that's far either side is stupid. There is no
Yeah.
need to be radical on either side because radicalism is not a good idea because you're pushing the envelope too far. That's my general gist of it. The people that believe that we should bring back the British Empire clearly don't understand how the British Empire first existed because
Yeah.
the British Empire showed up and just had like slight vaster technology than the places that they were entering and just kind of blew them up and then was like, this is ours now. And
Yeah,
then they're like, yeah, okay. All
They
right.
just had a high.
That's like respectable, I guess. They were like, all right, sure. Okay. And that's how that happened. You can't do that now because like the UN would like,
There are international laws,
yeah, there are international
which China's
laws.
not following, but
Hey, we're not going to talk about China, okay?
that's a
China's
different
doing its
one.
own thing right now, and we're not very happy about it, but they're doing their own thing.
We're going to talk about that later because I could
That's
go
that's
on.
a different topic.
I could go on about that, but
Yeah.
yeah, in a sense, those people are like, what? Do you have a brain, sir?
Yeah, no, they don't.
Listen, all right. They just
Gentlemen.
want a higher KD ratio. I don't understand. They'll be-
Oh, Jesus Christ.
They just want a higher KD ratio. All right.
The British Empire has been solidly at a like whatever number to zero. Like people like they just need to be higher.
It's impossible to conquer India. Impossible. Like,
Oh
forget about
yeah,
the,
reconquering Australia, like they're just impossible things to try and do.
well, Canada and Australia are like, what's the term? Their queen is their queen, but it's like they have independence. But what's the word? It's like, brother nation, something about like it's like, is it a Commonwealth nation?
It used to be. I don't think it's they don't really regard the queen as the queen. As last time I remember, I don't think like or at least Australia. I don't think they really regard the queen as the queen, like having any sort of authority.
But they kind of
They
recognize
did
them
in
in
the
a way.
past. Like they regard it as like the history, like they used to be. Like it's like America looking back and then being like, yeah, this is the Queen, except for that we have a whole different idea, but like we have a
Really?
whole different ideals now. But
Because I see the Queen just going up to PM Trudeau is like, hey, what's up?
oh yeah,
Doesn't
they're pretty buddy still.
yeah, buddies. Ooh.
But
Hey,
it's
remember
it's oh sorry, you go.
yeah, like remember that time when I conquered you? Yeah, that was those are good
Yeah,
times.
how's it?
Yeah, those were good times.
Good times. Yeah,
uh,
it's like you can't do it again. Like the UN would freak out, and especially if they try to do it with Canada, like the United States would freak out and then like start pressing that big red button, getting really close to that button, just start setting off stuff.
I don't think
It's
we would press the button, but we would be show concern. Like,
we'd be if it was Canada, we'd get really concerned because then that's the border, and
yeah,
then we'd have problems there, and we'd have to start moving troops up there, and it'd be a whole big thing. And then if it starts to get too powerful, then we get close to that big red button, and then Russia starts to get concerned because they're going to get close to their button, and then suddenly we're back in the Cold War.
we're already in the Cold War. But that's again another thing. But
Again, another topic, but Cold War V2, I guess we'll throw it as that.
because like, what is it? Forget about international laws. It's impossible to conquer India because of okay. If we did, how can you maintain 1.2 billion people
They can barely do it themselves.
who are like, because back then the British Empire was like 400 million, but now it would be like
Ridiculous.
1/5 or 1/4 of the world population.
Mm-hmm. 7 billion is the world population, right? That's like 7 billion.
It's like 1/7. It's crazy.
Once like that's so many people that you'd have to manage, and it'd just be impossible. Especially because you'd have like even if I guess we could even just take out the UN, like that'd still be impossible.
It's like and also China's near India. It's like
Oh yeah, China be freaking out.
Yeah, because like recently Britain was like, yo, Hong Kongers, come to us. You know?
Well, yeah, because Hong Kong used to be controlled by England, and then they gave it up. But then that left Hong Kong to just kind of be Hong Kong. But that's another topic. We're finding plenty of topics for your future podcast.
They're all interconnected. Yeah.
Hong Kong's a good one. That's a very good topic to talk about because that's a very controversial one. Is where Hong Kong stands.
It's more like how should we react? Again, that's connected to China, and China's like
exactly. China's a whole another thing.
It's really kind of sad. It's like Europe, their power is kind of it's not there, and the America is like has this entire weight on their shoulders. It's like oh, do we have to carry you? Like that's the thing. America is like in a very dark place. Politically, socially, and all that. And Europe is like, we need you guys, but America's like, no, Europeans know that America is getting weaker.
The problem with America is that when we rebelled against the British Empire, we then basically put out this thing saying, we're here to help all of you do the same. And since then, we've had this mentality that we need to help people, all the time. And that's what's causing this nation to get weaker, is that we're sacrificing our own blood for others, which is admirable, yes. But at some point, you need to bandage your own wounds.
Yeah.
You can't constantly be stabbing yourself and then expect to live.
I think the big contributing factor to that specific topic, in which the US is responsible for helping all these other nations, I think one of the big issues here was after World War II as well, to stop the spread of communism from the Soviets. Yep. So, at this time, the economy was booming. There weren't really any problems. So, we made a bunch of these commitments. So it's a big problem. And I don't know if this is still the case today, but I know that there's an issue with a lot of NATO members, or just in general, a lot of countries aren't, contributing as much of their GDP in terms of military spending for their own protection, and they're just still relying on the US to do that for them.
So that's the issue, is that back then we signed all these things offering to help, but we signed them because we were in the best possible place to sign them. Like we
Yeah.
were able to sign them. Now we're starting to realize that since we signed them, we didn't really think about the future, and we can't get out of them now. So we kind of have to deal with the problems that we set for ourselves. We dug ourselves a hole.
Yeah, and it also just doesn't help with relations as well between other countries, because if they don't feel like we're going to keep our commitments, they might just start also moving more towards our adversaries because they're not strong enough to protect themselves.
Yeah,
That's the thing about China, is that I think they're going to start to do the same thing, where they're going to start offering protection to other smaller nations, and then we'll be basically doing the same thing again, but with China instead of Russia, I guess.
Yeah.
I bring this up because my general view of Europe, I think we need a more united Europe, in the sense that they're very connected and they're connected with us. And in order to achieve that, I think there's a very important role for the monarchy, in the sense that, well, first they need to first modernize. They always need to modernize because their rules are kind of stupid.
They're
Really,
always going to need to modernize. It's such an old country that they just need to adapt to a lot faster than what they're doing.
yeah, like in the sense that, like, because China is its influence is growing every day, and it's shocking that no one is looking at this very like carefully. And since there's a huge possibility, especially like I heard from a New York Times article, this YouTube video from this like news organization, I forgot, like this international news organization, the European countries are deviating from America, and they're going through countries like China, with China basically this authoritarian state. And I think this all we like America has this sort of like um role. It needs to take care of itself. Like it really needs to get its shit together. But also, there's an important role for the monarchy to play in this. Is that the monarchy needs to realize that because China is this authoritarian nation, and basically imprisoning people, re-educating them, uh, that their country needs to connect with America and other European nations, and the monarchy could, because it has a lot of influence over people, they could improve relations in a way. Like, I don't know, it's just they could work with Americans or do whatever, but they have a huge responsibility because they're kind of beloved in a way. They're loved by a lot of people, despite like some backlash. Well, a lot of people are influenced by them, and yeah, they just have a role to play, and not direct political. They don't really have direct political power, but they have power in the way that they can influence people's decisions. Not really, like they can inspire people. It's like when King George VI, after his brother's abdication, the country was at war with Nazi Germany. And in addition to Churchill's like speeches and his like inspiration, it's also in the King's Speech, the movie. He gave his own speech that inspired people to keep on fighting. And the reason why that's significant is because he was like this fearful, quiet guy who stuttered a lot. And that really like a lot of people knew that, and they basically said, "This guy is weak. He's a stutterer. He can't even speak in public, so he's not strong enough to lead us in a war." But he did. He overcame that, and uh, he basically inspired a nation. And that's the reason why I don't like the monarchy being abolished. It's this symbol. It's like this big symbol that could inspire a nation of like millions, tens of millions of people, like very greatly, very influentially. And that's why I bring this up, especially in today's time because it's very sensitive internationally. I think the abolishing the monarchy because of that is just a very dumb idea. Yeah.
All right.
So
You said it,
screw
Sam.
you, progressives.
Oh, okay. All right. Now
Screw
we're just
you.
calling out a lot of people.
Yeah, no, sorry. No, please.
Suddenly this turns into Sam's hit list.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you guys have similar sentiments.
Yeah, I mean, just to leave it off, I think that abolishing the monarchy is a way too big of a jump just to make. If you really feel the need to reduce their power, I don't know how much more you can reduce it. They're not doing much as it is. So abolishing it is just a waste of money and a waste of time.
Yeah, wait, I just want to add, I'm a Democrat, so please don't cancel me. Please don't cancel me.
please don't
Please.
cancel me.
Okay. Okay.
I think
yeah.
Yeah, I think when you look at, like, unless you have an effective way to replace all of that, a way to replace all of that money you would be losing from the tourism, just strictly from a matter of interest per se, I don't think that's a good idea. So just keep it, because like Will said, they don't have a lot of power now as it is, and you're gonna be hurting their economy quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna end it off here, but I want this conversation to go a little bit further because there's not a lot of opposers here. So anyone listening, anyone who has an opposing view can email us, text us, or whatever. I think we have social media accounts and all that, emails or whatever. But I want to thank you, Will, for coming on. This is a good segment. I think compared to the other ones, it was too systematic, too much structure, and not a lot of like free flowing dialogue.
Contrary to the idea that we were talking about today, you need to abolish the system.
Abolish the structure. Abolish it.
Abolish all of it. Take it all down.
Questions and answers? No.
No, none. Zero.
Yes. But a little more personality. That's always good. And jokes. There's not a lot of jokes.
Yeah,
Circulating.
I try to bring a little bit of life here.
Yeah. We thank you for that. We're grateful. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
coming on.
It was a pleasure as always.
So this is Hail to the Pod. This is me, Sam Chang, Sebastian Rizard, and Will Rosen. And we'll see you later.